Welcome to Generations, a show which helps people 50 and better lead happy, healthy, and productive lives. Here's your moderator, Nadia Giordana.
Hello and welcome to Generations. I'm Nadia Giordana and I'll be your moderator for today. Let me introduce my co-hosts. I have Candy Pettiford.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, Candy. It's
Thank
so
you.
nice to have you on the show and
I'm glad
visiting
to be
from
back.
Missouri today.
Yes, I'm glad to be back.
All right. And Gloria Van Demeltrot.
Thank you, Nadia. I'm delighted to be here. It's good to see you again, Candy, to come and visit us. And I'm excited about our guest
I
today.
am too. And of course we have Ellie Freed.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here too and happy to hear what Jean has to tell us.
Isn't that so? That's right. And of course we have Midge Bubani.
It's great to be here.
I'm glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
And our guest is Jean Ketcham.
I am very excited to be here with all of you.
And Jean is you are the CEO and co-founder of Aging But Dangerous.
Right.
And that is such an exciting title. Tell us a little bit or a lot about this organization. I've been following it for the last 3, 4, 5 years, but I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about the organization.
Thank you, Nadia. I love to talk about it. This is our 10th year. We have been around for 10 years, and I'm always surprised when somebody hasn't heard of us because we've done a lot of TV interviews. We've been written up in Time magazine twice, being from the Twin Cities, and we've really had quite a bit of publicity, and we've done quite a few things in the Twin Cities. But we started it, my friend and I started it, and then she left the company a year ago. But we started it because 10 years ago, we really concentrated on that 50-year-old woman. And that 50-year-old woman 10 years ago was completely different than what she is today. The 50-year-old woman 10 years ago was really traumatized about turning 50. It was like almost like a 60-year-old today or 65-year-old. You know, they were just, it was really, really traumatic to them. And whereas my daughter just turned 50, my daughter signed up for a 350-mile bike ride. So the 50-year-old today is out there really conquering a lot and still working and, you know, that. So when we started this 10 years ago, we really wanted to bring women out of their shell and really talk, you know, keep them out there doing things, you know, not, in fact, you know, when I talk about it now, it sounds kind of foolish because that 50 sounds so young now, you know, but back then. And I want to tell you a story about what we were experiencing at that time too. Suzanne, my friend and co-founder, she was at a party with one of her friends, this Sue, I'll call her. And Sue had just done Botox, and Botox was just really coming into its own about 10 years ago. And Suzanne said, my gosh, you look so good. And Sue said, thank you, I just did Botox. And she said, I love it. And then one of their friends walked up and said, Sue, you look fabulous. What have you done? And she said, well, I got a new skincare. I think it's, you know, really helped my skin. And she walked away, and Suzanne looked at her and said, why didn't you tell her that you'd done Botox? And she goes, well, I just didn't want anybody to know. Well, so we thought, you know, women have got to start sharing stories. They've got to start talking about things. We really got very adamant about that. And so we really, when we first started out, we were after that 50-year-old, 50 and over. Now I have to tell you, we have the 40-year-old that's really following us because they want to know what it's like to turn, you know, to be aging. They want to know what's, you know, what to expect. So right now, we do have monthly things. I think we'll talk about those a little later. Right now we're doing a lot online too with virtual gatherings. Subjects that, again, we want women to share. We're really worldwide. We have members in 50 different countries, but our base is the Twin Cities, and that's where the most of the people are. But we really want this sharing to go on. We just did a virtual gathering a few weeks ago on this woman in the Twin Cities that bought this house, and she's getting 4 women. She has the different apartments. everybody had, the main kitchen, and then she's vetting all these women. She wants to find 4 women that will live together and be a part of this,
I see.
house.
And this is part of your virtual
gathering. So we're going to have different topics on there. We're going to do a lot of those, and as a member, you can go in there and you can listen to all these, be a part of these virtual gatherings. And also, we're going to have a resource library. We do have a resource library with lots of information in there, but it's all about this aging concept that we're all going through. I just heard the perfect quote this morning, and I wanted to say it today on the show. You can't control aging, but you can control the way you age. And I thought that is so perfect, and that's really the way we are. I just go back to the whole thing. It's just so much about your attitude and how you accept this whole aging process. And I went to a networking thing a couple of months ago, about 65 women, young women. I say young because they were like 50s and 60s. It's like I'm 78. And this young woman sat next to me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I love your attitude." And she said, "My mother is out in California and my mother is so depressed." I said, "Why is she?" She said, "She's 72, she's so depressed." And I said, "Why is she depressed?" And she says, "Because she's having to wear Depends." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I mean, we should be down on our knees thanking God for Depends." I mean, that's right. That was like the best thing that ever happened. And she said, "Oh my gosh, would you talk to my mother?" I said, "Yes, of course I'll talk to your mother. Tell her to call me." So, Aging with Dangerous is all about this, just aging with a little bit of fun, spirit, and style, a little dangerously.
It's the approach and the attitude. You do also, though, do some what I would think of as dangerous things. What's the number one thing you do that makes people swallow hard before they sign up?
The martini jump skydive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had, our first one was about, I think it was like 8 years ago. We had 105 women from 50 to 80 years old jumping out of an airplane all day long, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. I went on Channel 11 on their morning show and talked about the skydiving. When I went home that afternoon, I had 100 emails from women that wanted to skydive. Wow. Now, it happens to be, and I don't know about any of you, but it really is on a lot of women's bucket list. Not men necessarily, but women. So of course, I love heights, and I've jumped about 4 times. I love it. And so we started doing that, and just absolutely changed lives. I mean,
how much prep did they have to do? To me, it seems like you'd need a little bit of training in order to do that safely.
Well, they train you that day. You sit in the they train you that day. And, you have somebody behind you that you're strapped to. Okay. No, you can't do it by yourself. Yeah, you can't do it by yourself. But, it's just the hardest thing is getting out of that airplane. Once you get out of the airplane, you're like, fine, It's like, but we had so many people jump the first time, and I keep telling them if they do go the second time, it's so much better, because it was explained to me that the first time your brain can't comprehend what's going on.
You know what to expect. It's like the second time, right?
Yeah, so the second time it's like, oh my gosh, you're just like up there, just like hanging in the air.
You enjoy it the second time.
Yeah, enjoy it. And then, of course, the martini afterwards. Everybody always asking, I think you ask her, and it's like, do you have the martini before? No, you cannot drink before you go. But you do fall, it's 13,000 feet, so everybody always compares it to George Bush because he jumped out of an airplane, but he jumped at about 8,000 feet, I think, or 7,000. He didn't jump very. He didn't have that free fall. His parachute opened all the way.
How far did you jump?
13,000 feet.
So how long do you free fall?
Well, you free fall about, it's just, I don't have the correct number, so I can't tell you because I've kind of forgotten, but it's just, it goes really fast. I think it's about 2 minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and so you just, we had one person jump at 18,000 feet, part of Aging with Dangerous, and at that height you have to wear oxygen. Yeah, because the plane doesn't have oxygen.
Yeah, that
So anyway, but what's funny is that afterwards, with some people had never had a martini. I happen to be a martini drinker. I love a martini, and afterwards, there were so many women that were so excited about that martini. And of course, as we all know, martini is just straight vodka, So, but they loved it, and we'd take pictures with them in little martini glasses, and we'd have Aging with Dangers on the martini glasses, and we had red T-shirts where you could just see all these red T-shirts coming out of the sky. It was just fabulous. So then the next year we did it, we had about 60 people, and then we did it the next year, and we had about 30. The numbers keep going down because I think we've kind of saturated the market, to tell you the truth, because we still do a lot of advertising on it. And then a few years ago, we had the Flying Nun. We had one of the nuns from St. Joseph, Sisters of St. Joseph, and she was in her late 70s or 80, I can't remember, but she had to jump with that, her
habit on.
Yeah, her habit on.
Yeah.
And they had to take that thing down and anchor it, and, because
couldn't fly off. They can't have it. No, they've got to.
Yeah, and it was just a riot. And we just advertised her like crazy, because it was just
pictures of that.
Yeah, the Flying Nun.
And statistics or scary stuff, but were there any incidents in the numbers? It sounds like you've had several.
We had one incident. The woman, broke her leg. But I'll tell you, when I first skydived, my 91-year-old dad did it with me.
Wow.
And what was amazing wasn't the fact that he was 91, but it was the fact you have to be able to lift your legs up above your waist. Because when you land, you just sit down. Everybody thinks the landing's hard. It's not. You just sit down, but your legs have to come up. If they don't come up, they buckle underneath you and you break and she broke her leg, one incident.
Okay.
But do you know what she said afterwards? She said, "I am not sorry I did it. I am so excited I did it."
Oh, great.
She's going to do it again, probably.
Yeah.
How many jump at the same time?
There's about four in a plane.
In one plane.
Yeah.
Does all that.
4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have somebody, behind you, and it's just the plane goes up. The plane is a, kind of a shaky old plane.
Who pulls the ripcord?
The guy behind you.
Yeah, the guy behind you.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about it.
We're going to have one September 15th.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Now, I'm telling you, okay, this is another, and I have to tell you a real quick story, too, about Ann Bancroft. You all know Ann Bancroft.
Oh, yes.
So she jumped. I jumped with her. She was in my plane, and we're walking off the drop zone, and I looked at her. I said, "Did you love it?" She says, "Oh, my gosh, it was so fabulous. Now I have something to talk about at cocktail parties."
Oh, that's
She didn't have anything to talk about.
Right, now she does.
Yeah. But yes, September 15th, and it's just, the thing that we do that I love the most is that I really believe in getting women together and doing things that they would normally do. And I'll just use this example. Last year, I just bought myself a new fur coat this winter. And it's like a royal blue mink. It's so gorgeous. But I had Ribnick's. We had a party at Ribnick's and an event. But my thinking on that, it's not to buy fur coats. It's not like, that. But if you would not go to a drop zone and jump out of an airplane by yourself, but you would do it with a group of people, aging but dangerous. I think it's very difficult to walk into a fur, and some of you may be against fur, but I think I'm just using this as an example of anything. To walk into a fur store and try on an expensive fur, you just wouldn't do it because you feel obligated. But you get an event together, and you go, and it's a party, and it's fun, and it may be the only time you ever try on a $15,000 fur coat or something,
Do you feel more obligated in the group or not?
No, because it's just a party, and it's just, you had it catered, and no, you don't feel obligated at all. Nobody's pushing you at all. But we like to do things that, the colonoscopy, party.
Yeah,
to
I'd like
do
to hear about
things
that.
to do things that people would not do by themselves, but they would do with a group. And it's back to that just kind of, whether it's fur coats, whether it's jumping, whether it's, no matter what it is, it's that pushing that limit, just pushing and edging just a little, you know, and keeping
You
it.
said something very significant a couple of minutes ago, and that was the lady who wanted to have something to talk about at cocktail parties.
And Bancroft,
That's more than it sounds like. That's deep. Many women suffer from not doing anything, and they feel inferior when they're in a group. They don't have anything to talk
And that's
about.
the invisibility thing.
Exactly. That's
Yes,
more
invisibility. No, but you're right, that's exactly what it is.
Right.
And just like a lot of people would get concerned about the dangerous in our name. But the dangerous is not just, and some people think you can't join ABD unless you jump out of a plane. Well, that's, you know. But like dangerous, you know, it's like, I go to the grocery store without makeup on now. Never would have done that before.
I guess it is dangerous, isn't it?
Well, I think it was dangerous to me, you know, and just like the other day, I was running out of gas, and I was like, I think I can make it to my destination without getting gas. And then I thought, I just kind of laughed because I thought, well, you talk about dangerous. But, you know, so the dangerous word is used really in fun and in just like,
Or like excitement.
yes,
It's
yes.
kind of like embracing your age and who you are and what you are at that time.
Yes, exactly. And we have just helped so many people, so many women in 10 years that are, that have pushed themselves to do something. The colonoscopy party, I mean, it was a blast, but, you know, we did it down at Nicollet Island Inn, and we had the whole, you know, drink thing. We did a table, the toilet stool was in the middle of the table. We had all this, you know, all the things. And then we drove them the next morning. They stayed, the people that signed up stayed at the Nicollet Island Inn, and the next morning we had limos drive them to their colonoscopy. And then when they came back, we had brunch, but we saved 2 people's lives.
Wow.
Yes, they had
And I'll
not
tell
had
you
it
why.
before.
Well, I'll tell you, one woman, her mother had colon cancer and died, and she was scared to death to go get the colonoscopy, scared to death, and just wouldn't do it. So she did it with us. And the other woman, they had found polyps in her, and she was so anti-doctor, you know, and all that, and she didn't want to go do it. But there again, you get a group together, and that's, you know, you have the nerve to, you know, do those things. And we felt really good about that. And like I say, the skydiving stories are just incredible because of the women that were, one woman jumped and she had her husband's ashes, and she threw them out from the plane when she jumped because he had always wanted to skydive, and she had him up there. And then one woman that was scared to death to drive down 394 and take her son to baseball practice, she had that, whatever it's called, where you can't, you know, where you're scared to get out. And she jumped out of the airplane.
Jumped out of the airplane.
And she faced her fear, and she was able to do that. We got an email from her afterwards, and it was just, it was incredible. And then the woman we got an email from this woman that said, that was the best experience in the world. I went home, I divorced my husband, and I started my business. No! We're like, well, we don't want people divorcing their husbands. No. But when you walk off that drop zone, you're walking up, you know, and you think, oh my gosh, I can conquer the world. It's that kind of a feeling. So you sign up, we go to our website and sign up.
Good, sign up.
There's something about the West Side Story at the Guthrie. What's happening?
Well, that's coming, I think, this weekend. We just advertised that. That was the sponsors of that was Vital Aging Network. And so we wanted to help them out and sponsor that. We reach a lot. We have about 72,000 followers on Facebook, and then we have about 1,500 people that go to our website every month. We reach a lot of people, so we like to help people when they're doing something, or organizations, or help just kind of get the word out there so people know about it, because we have so much exposure for people.
I applaud you for what
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
doing. This
Yeah.
is marvelous.
It is.
We have a choice every day. I love that statement that you just found.
Yes, we can
about
control.
not being able to control getting older, aging, but we can do something about how we do it. We have a choice every day when
Every
we get
day.
up. I laughingly tell my husband, I can get up every day and either punish everybody I'm going to deal with that day or make us all have a good time. We do have that choice.
That's right, have a good time.
Well, and just embrace aging. I find that the older I get, like the Depends, I'm like, gosh, I love the Depends. And I find that it's just, I just had a colonoscopy, and I said, when I woke up, the doctor said, you never have to have another colonoscopy. And I'm like, what? Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. I just almost jumped off the table. And then I got in the car and I thought, oh yeah, I guess they don't give 90-year-olds colonoscopies. Right. So, it's like, but that was just such a gift.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
I'm like, and I did a little blog about it, and I said, I mean, that's exciting. That this aging thing isn't so bad. I just think we're all going to age. We have to look at it in the right way. We have to have a good attitude. I used to own a clothing store in St. Louis, Missouri, and back when I was in my late 30s. And I remember thinking I was in this room with all these buyers and everything. It was in Dallas, Texas, and this woman walks in the room. I was like 37 years old, so this amazes me that I was even aware, but she walked in the room and everybody kind of turned and, looked at her, and I'm like, now why are they looking at her? It's like she wasn't that great looking. She didn't have on the best outfit for her body. Her jewelry was, fine, but nothing, but what is it? And it just hit me. It was her attitude. She
Right.
walked in that
Attitude.
room like she owned it.
There you go.
And everybody looked at her, and it's like, and I, at 37 years old, realized that. And it has helped me so much in my aging process, because it's so true. We had a casting call for our models when we did our fashion show. We had like 500 people there, and standing room only, and we had this casting call, excuse me, for these models. And some woman came in, she just lived on the farm, and she'd just been mucking the horses. And we picked her, she was one of our models. But I said to all of them at the time, I don't care what size you are, I don't care what you look like, you gotta have attitude. And when you walk down that runway, you have to have attitude.
That's right.
And we had a woman on there, she was 80 years old, and she was a professional dancer, competitive dancer, and she didn't start doing it until she was 70.
Wow.
And she was just great. She was kind of like our mascot, and call her Patty. And my daughter at the time was there at the fashion show. Michelle was about 40 years old, and she's sitting by me, and Patty comes out, and she's just doing her strut. She had on these tight jeans, and she had on this really cute little T-shirt, and my daughter's sitting there, and she goes like, Mother, I cannot believe that I want that outfit that 80-year-old is wearing. I said, see, that's what I'm telling you. Age is not the deal. And that was, again, the most important thing about the fashion show, was to show it's not an age thing. It's like,
It's an attitude.
it's an attitude.
My mother told me when she was in her 70s, I'm only 23 in here. And that made me
Beautiful.
start to think about how you don't really change inside. Your body
Right.
changes, but if you keep that attitude of how you were when you were 23 or 30 or whatever, it's wonderful. It just changes your attitude.
I think that's good advice, too.
My husband's grandmother, he asked her, she was looking in the mirror, and he asked her, what do you see when you look in the mirror? And she said, I see a 19-year-old girl.
Wow.
Wow.
So I think that
I
was
can't go that far.
I can't either. I'm not gonna go that far.
Because I really embrace that. I always keep going through this, do I say my age? Because we really honor our age in Aging with Dangerous. And I remember when I turned 70, it was huge. And but we really honor that. But I have to say, we do have we really attract that 50 to 64-year-old too, and they look at us for all kinds of things. But I go through this about when I'm talking to people, do I say my age, or do I just kind of like let go? And I just say it. I'm almost 80 years old, and I'm, that's the way it is. And I got so upset one year, I think I was like 74 or something, I was seeing so many wrinkles, and I was talking to this friend of mine, I said, I just can't believe all these wrinkles, and she started laughing. She said, well, did you really think you would get to this age without having any wrinkles?
There you go, there you go.
I think we do think that, though.
Yes, you do think that.
The wrinkles are our badge of honor.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yes,
I
what
think
they
part
are.
of the problem is when all these, like, movie stars have all this plastic surgery and their faces are just so smooth, you know, it's a bar that they're setting, and I don't like it at all.
Unrealistic expectations when you see that.
I don't
yeah.
like it.
Good point. It's not realistic. I had this discussion with a group of friends the other day, and we're all aging. We've got wrinkles, we sag here and there.
Yeah.
But it's a badge of courage, of honor to get to an older age
is.
and still be a vital human being. I think that's the important thing, and it looks like that's what you're promoting.
Yes, we do. And I just look back to that 72-year-old woman in California. I feel so sorry for her, because if she's getting upset and depressed
Yes.
at 72 over Depends,
There's a lot of time left.
just think that she's going to, how other things are going to affect her. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, come on, lady.
And think
Yeah.
how that's going to affect her family and her friends.
Yeah, her daughter is very upset.
Yeah.
And her daughter said, I wish you'd talk to her. And I why?
But maybe that's your next party. You've got the colonoscopy party. Maybe it's the Depends party.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you should be get her worked up about that. That's a party.
I've never tried Botox, but I would try it sometime. I
yeah.
have nothing against somebody
So
doing
Botox
something that
party?
makes them
I don't
give them a
either.
better attitude
Yeah,
if
I
they
don't
want
either.
Are
to.
you saying Botox party? Is that what you're saying?
I don't, they do have parties
Yeah,
like
we've
that.
had,
Yeah, I guess they do, yeah.
I might do it sometime, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for any of it. I just think, I'm just going to age.
Yeah, that's right, there you go, that's right.
Age is,
Well, if they could say the effects would last, but it only lasts 6 months or something.
Is that right? When then they get the plastic
Yeah,
surgery?
if I pay my money.
I didn't know
want it.
that.
Well, not plastic surgery, Botox.
Botox, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, plastic surgery, they really
That's a
go
little
too far a lot of
Some
times.
do go
Yeah.
But some of them, they botch them. They botch them. Have you ever seen some that are, that look scary? It's like, oh my God, they got it done. Ooh, what happened?
Yeah, a little too much.
Yeah, a little too much.
Yeah, it's, I think the Botox is a wonderful thing if people want to do it. I look at some of these women that are aging, I think they've either had a facelift or Botox. And a lot of times, the Botox will look as good as the facelift, except in more normal.
It's,
Yeah.
I
Well, we're
find that
running out of time today.
Oh, this was just getting good.
Down to a second or two, so we
Wow.
have to end the show. But
Oh, my
thank
gosh.
you, ladies,
Yes,
for
this
being
was
here
fun.
and being our co-hosts. And Jean, for being our guest today. This has been so interesting. We probably
Thank
could have
you.
talked for another hour. or more.
Yes, I could have talked forever.
We'll do it
I hope I
again.
didn't talk too much.
No, not at all. We're so
good.
happy to have you here.
Good, thank you.
And thank you all for watching the show. We'll see you next time on Generations.